I got transported into a doomsday survival game. Everyone was scrambling to pick superpowers like crazy. I was the only one who picked unlimited money. Everyone else laughed and said I lost my mind. They said cash is just useless paper in the apocalypse. But these guys have no idea. Zombies are barely a threat at all. Living people with superpowers are the scariest thing out there. Right as the system notification went off, 300 other players and I got dropped straight into the game. The system explained that all of us players were already dead in real life. If we want a second chance at life, we have to be the last one standing in this doomsday game. Next up was the initial item selection round. I took a quick glance at the items on the shelf. Basically all kinds of different superpowers. Other players were fighting over them like maniacs. I skipped straight to the last page of the list. I spotted a gold coin at the very bottom, with the label Endless Wealth on it. I didn't even think twice. I grabbed that gold coin right away. Wang Tung, the class monitor who came in with me, picked the mind control superpower. When he saw I took the gold coin, he couldn't help but start mocking me. "Mark, you're so obsessed with money, aren't you? The apocalypse is literally right around the corner. What's the point of having money anyway?" Before I could even open my mouth to explain, he turned to look at Liu Ruyan, the class belle. This girl picked the power of winning people's love. "I can make all humans fall in love with me. Even zombies will have feelings for me. With true love protecting me, there's no way I'll die." After all the items were snatched up, the system notification went off again. "You all have 1 year to practice your superpowers. Make sure you get properly prepared for the battle. Doomsday mode will officially launch in 1 year. There will only be one winner in this game. Only those who survive till the end are qualified to take the final grand prize." After hearing this rule, everyone's face changed instantly. The people who had previously agreed to form alliances were now looking at each other, with eyes full of suspicion. In this survival game, there are no such things as friends. Everyone is your enemy. I didn't waste a single second. I bolted right away, and immediately started my doomsday survival plan. I searched around on the world map. I set my eyes on a lonely island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's not on a seismic belt, nor is it in a wind belt. There's a natural flat area on the island, perfect for building an airport. The green mountains surrounding it make perfect shelters. I splashed out 1 billion yen and bought the entire island straight up. I named it Future Island on a whim. I told the public I was doing tourism development. I bought 10 giant cruise ships in one go. I signed construction contracts with those NPCs and shipped all construction vehicles and materials to the island. I signed non-disclosure agreements with all NPC executives. Even they have no idea where Future Island is located. After the cruise ships arrived at Future Island, the workers started building a simple airport. I then bought 100 airplanes. I chartered flights to bring construction workers from all over to the island. The workers worked around the clock. To prevent Future Island from being located, I bought signal jammers in advance, and also confiscated the workers' phones. I built 10 super strong fortresses on the island. All materials are of the highest standard. They can withstand a magnitude 12 earthquake. All fortresses are camouflaged on the outside. Satellites in the sky can't capture them at all. But these are just my smoke screens. The real Doomsday Fortress is actually underground. The underground fortress can withstand nuclear bomb blasts and biochemical attacks. Even if there are zombies that can dig holes, they'll never break through this 5-meter thick steel wall. There are secret passages from ground fortresses leading straight underground. But the secret passages are built extremely narrow. Only one person can crawl through at a time. The inside is just like a maze. Even if you get lucky and find the right path, and get through the main gate, you still might not avoid the traps along the way. If one of the secret passages gets blown up, you can take other secret passages back to the surface. In the apocalypse, energy is the most important thing. To solve the energy supply problem, I installed wind turbines on the island, as well as tidal and nuclear power generators. The water supply issue is also easy to fix. I installed rainwater collectors and seawater desalination systems. I even found underground water resources. The purification equipment can treat water polluted in the apocalypse to be drinkable straight away. We also have instant high-temperature disinfection, instant low-temperature disinfection, ultraviolet disinfection, and chemical disinfection equipment. The wastewater treatment system is specifically designed to handle dirty water from the underground fortress, considering the risk of flooding. All walls are waterproofed. The blast door is completely airtight when closed. The underground drainage system is also extremely well built. I've installed several air purification systems to make sure the air in the underground bunker is always fresh and sufficient. I also stockpiled 100,000 oxygen tanks for use as a last resort. The underground bunker has 12 separate compartments. If one or two break down, the other compartments can take over. Each compartment has its own function. 3 of them use the latest automated breeding technology where you can grow vegetables and raise fish, as well as raise chickens. 2 compartments are stocked with supplies enough for 10 years, including medicine, food, and water. When NPCs got suspicious about my project, I just tipped them a ton of money to make them keep their mouths shut tight. Then I went to the US and bought a bunch of heavy weapons, including mobile combat robots and hydrogen bomb robots. I even paid so much money that I got 2 nuclear weapons through illegal channels. In a certain bay, I hid my nuclear submarine and a plane. There's a direct passage from the underground bunker to this location. To prevent players with superpowers from entering the island, I had a bunch of artificial reefs built around the island. Any large ship that comes near will hit the reef and sink directly. Closer to the island, I put up power grids to surround the entire island. I buried bombs all along the coastal waters around the island. I also installed special radars that can detect any object approaching the island, so I can shoot it down in time. I set up giant power grids in the air to prevent virus-carrying birds from landing on the island. In just 1 year, all defense measures for the entire island were completed. Of course, to deceive the enemy, I also openly developed tourism projects elsewhere around the world, so those players won't notice something's off. Those shelters are actually backup locations. I can fly there directly without refueling. After seeing off the last batch of NPCs, I was the only one left on the entire island. I spent a fortune buying SpaceX and took ownership of over 6,000 satellites in space, just to make sure my internet never cuts out. During this 1 year, I bought all airlines and shipping companies around the world. In the final week, I ordered to destroy all planes and ships. People all over the world knew that the richest man destroyed all long-distance transport vehicles. All NPCs thought the richest man had lost his mind. Only the players know the truth. This world's richest man is also their competitor. A pop-up window appeared on the player's world chat interface. Wang Tung asked me, "Mark, that world's richest man is you, right?" He was the only one who saw me pick unlimited wealth. But I totally ignored him. A week later, the apocalypse really arrived. Players who maxed out their superpowers were all ready to go. The names and numbers of 300 players were displayed on the public screen. I'm number 99. Wang Tung is number 100. Liu Ruyan is number 101. Attention, the apocalypse has begun. This game will keep running until only one player remains. No one expected the apocalypse would start with heavy rain sweeping across the entire world. The long-lasting heavy rain directly caused massive floods, although Future Island also got hit by heavy rain. Since the island is really small, the rain clouds drifted away after 2 days. I didn't even have time to hide in the underground bunker. All those superpowered people were totally confused. They were also broke when they first came to this world. This past year, they had to practice their powers while figuring out ways to make money. Not to mention how hard it was. The supplies they stockpiled were pathetically little. Only a few players who did bad things with their powers got a villa and built a shelter in the basement. Turns out the basement was the first place flooded by the flood. All supplies were ruined by the water. The entire villa was swallowed by the flood. Some players built their shelters in underground garages, which were also completely filled with water. Shelters on high floors were temporarily safe, but the rain kept falling nonstop. The players' already scarce supplies gradually ran out. Everyone panicked at this point. At the same time, I was watching live streams while eating snacks. The streamer was hiding behind the curtain, secretly streaming the situation of the building opposite. A player was using fire powers to rob supplies. Guys, this isn't special effects. And it's not cosplay either. This is a real superpowered person. He used to be the security guard of our community. Now he's burning the door with fire. This is the 10th house he's robbing. Barrages were flying all over the live stream. So there really are superpowered people. Does that mean the apocalypse is here? Streamer, be careful. He'll rob your building after he's done with the opposite one. Firepower. He's moving. The firepower player alerted the NPCs. A large group of SWAT officers entered the community on rescue boats and surrounded the building with guns. The streamer's hands were shaking with excitement. Guys, this is my first time seeing a gunfight. This security guard's fire is so strong, it melted the big iron gate in an instant. SWAT teams rushed into the building. The gunfire was extremely intense. Suddenly, a figure flew off the top floor and fell straight into the floodwaters. Not long after that, I saw a player's name gray out on the game public channel. That means this player is already dead. Right then in the chat interface, Wang Tung hit me up again. Mark, let's form an alliance. We're old classmates after all. Our player numbers are right next to each other. We'll definitely make it to the end if we team up. He kept spamming me with video call requests shamelessly. I still ignored him. If I ally with him, when only the two of us are left at the end, he'll kill me with mind control and become the only winner. Does he underestimate my IQ or overestimate his own? Both water and power are cut off, and food is in short supply. 3 months of flood washed away all the NPCs' hope. Finally, some people couldn't hold on anymore and started taking desperate risks. Smashing, looting, and burning everywhere. Players are also mixed in with the crowd, trying to get that slim chance of survival, but superpowers can't be hidden at all. That alerted the upper management. The upper management directly issued an arrest warrant for superpower users. Any captured superpower user will be sent to the Research Institute. 30 players were declared dead on the public channel in 1 month. All players were like frightened birds for a while. Everyone feared for their own safety. My life was totally different from theirs, like we lived in different worlds. I check how my vegetables are growing every now and then, play games in my big mansion, and take a swim in the pool. Future Island is literally a paradise. I'm living such a comfortable life, but the good times didn't last long. I finally got ratted out by someone. Someone posted an anonymous message on the global public channel. Player 99 is the richest man in the world. He must have built lots of shelters before the apocalypse hit. As long as we find Player 99, all of us can survive. The global public channel that had been silent for ages exploded instantly. Player 99, come out and speak. You're living the high life all by yourself, while hundreds of us are suffering here. You're so cruel and vicious. Yeah, players like him deserve to be eliminated. We can survive if we find Player 99. Let's charge, guys. All the players were furious. They couldn't wait to skin me alive right now. I just wanted to lay low quietly, but you just had to call me out. I replied with a message on the public channel. Calm down, everyone. I'm Player 99. You want shelters? I can give them to you, but I only built shelters in China, the US, Germany, and Australia, 4 locations in total. Besides, each shelter can hold a maximum of 20 people. With that, I marked 4 spots on the world map. There are over 200 of you, so the shelters can't hold all of you at all. But I'll tell you the passwords to the shelters. First come, first served. Just don't chase me to kill me, please. The second I typed out the passwords, all the players went wild. As long as they get to the shelter first, they can survive the flood overnight. Some players already arrived at the shelters. Most of them have the superpower of fast movement. The shelters are built on high ground, so they are not threatened by the flood. When they opened the shelter doors, it felt like walking into heaven once they got inside. After all, these 4 shelters of mine are built extremely luxuriously. They have all kinds of facilities inside. The freezers are stuffed with all kinds of rich frozen food. Player 58 started live streaming smugly on the global public channel. I can't believe the shelter is built so well. Being rich is so awesome. They are eating steak and lamb legs inside, and drinking red wine. The table is full of delicacies, Player 58 said. There are already 12 people in the shelter. We all agreed to close the China shelter. Resources are limited. The rest of you don't need to come. Other players were still on the way. They blew up instantly when they saw the live stream. Outside the shelter, players kept coming over non-stop. Rather than drowning in the flood or starving to death without food, they would definitely grab this lifeline. Their will to survive made them go all out. They begged the people inside to open the door and let them in, but the players inside already locked the door tight. No matter how hard they banged on the door and walls, and even used their superpowers, they couldn't shake that rock-solid door at all. Just when the players inside were feeling smug, I popped up suddenly and said, "Didn't you say it can hold 20 people? There's still room for 8 more people, right? I still have a mandatory password. Even if they lock the door, I can still get inside. The hidden door is right in the southeast. That embossed brick at the base of the wall. Give it a twist, and the hidden door will pop open." Players outside the door charged madly toward the hidden door, twisted the embossed brick. The ancient city clicked. A hidden door actually appeared on the ancient city wall. Players scrambled to rush inside. fighting for the remaining 8 spots. A frail-looking girl was way too slow, running at the very back. All of a sudden, countless vines grew out of her arms. She charged wildly at the crowd ahead, tripping a huge group of players instantly. The player with Windblade ability quickly cut off the vines under his feet, threw a Windblade behind him right away. Right at the vine player's neck, the Windblade player reached the door first, entered the mandatory password. The gate opened. He ran in excitedly, and right after that, another player took down a bunch of people with lightning strike and rushed in as the second person. The third person just got close to the door, when a player behind grabbed his thighs tightly. The player lying on the ground wore a creepy smile. The venom on his nail stabbed into the third player's leg. The venom player just tried to stand up and run into the door, but a steel arm from behind pierced through his heart. Players fell in front of the shelter one by one. The desire to survive made them tear off their last bit of disguise. Turns out the powers the system gave weren't for fighting zombies. They were for them to kill each other. Players inside the shelter also got anxious. They all had fast movement powers, but obviously their combat power was nothing impressive. Their combat power was way too low. If they don't close the gate and let players with higher combat power come in, won't they become sitting ducks? The Windblade player who just rushed in and the Lightning Strike player realized this. They formed an alliance right away and started dealing with the players outside. At this time, the number on the public screen rose rapidly. The number of dead players kept increasing. Human nature is the same everywhere. Outside the other 3 shelters, they also broke out into fierce, deadly fights. I checked all the surveillance footage and didn't find Wang Teng anywhere. That makes sense. Why would he go to a shelter anyway? Funny enough, Wang Teng just sent me a message. Look, Mark, we didn't even form an alliance, but we work so well together, you and I. We are meant to be natural allies. Have you no shame? Exposing my identity. You're the one who threw me under the bus, right? Don't be so mad. If I didn't come up with this idea, how would all these players go and die? You should thank me for cutting down your competitors. While we were chatting, the shelter was already full. The gate closed automatically and locked tight. Outside the shelter, blood flowed like a river. Those who didn't get in were still making their last struggle. Players inside the shelter were celebrating like crazy. They had no idea what was waiting for them. I laughed. What is it? I smiled and said to Wang Teng, it's such a shame you're not inside the shelter. Right after that, I pressed a button, and in an instant, 1,000 tons of explosives buried inside the shelter blew up. The shockwave even shattered the surviving players outside the shelter. After the explosion, the player count dropped by 116. Only 91 players remained alive. After a long pause, Wang Teng sent me a message. I underestimated you. Thanks for your help. Otherwise, it would have been really hard to gather so many players in the shelter, the players in the world who were most likely to reach Future Island. Without planes or ships are all gone now. I've been thinking since a year ago how to take all these people out at once. Those shelters are their graveyards. The shelter explosion won't make the news this fast. The other surviving players have no idea what happened at all. But Wang Teng knew right away, which means he was watching everything from far away from the shelter. Just then, the system sent me a message. Congratulations, you are the player with the most kills. You can get an extra reward. I couldn't help laughing. See? This apocalypse has always been survival of the fittest. 4 months later, the flood slowly receded, revealing the previously flooded land. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, thinking the disaster was over, but they didn't expect the flood brought a plague. Many dead NPCs turned into zombies. Ding! Congratulations to the 101 players who passed the first level, Apocalypse Flood. Next up is the second level, Apocalypse Zombies. Finally, it's time for the powers to play their part. That number 99 guy is just waiting to be slaughtered. Right at this moment, Liu Ruyan sent me a private message. Mark, you don't have superpowers. You definitely won't survive the zombie apocalypse. If you share some supplies with me and tell me where you are, I can come over and protect you. I slowly typed out a question mark. Don't you dare underestimate my superpower. The reason I survived the flood is all thanks to this power. Of course, I know how she survived. She used her gain love superpower to cheat all the neighbors out of their supplies. When the rescuers arrived, she was the first person to get rescued. Thinking of that, I replied, Sorry. I'm not interested in you. Besides, Liu Ruyan knowing I'm the richest man is obviously no coincidence. The zombie virus broke out across all continents, 'cause I destroyed all planes and ships ahead of time. The transmission routes to Pacific Island nations and Antarctica were completely cut off. Low-level zombies aren't hard to deal with, but the virus spreads way too fast. It started mutating after repeated rounds of transmission, exactly as I expected. Intelligent zombies and zombies with superpowers quietly started appearing. Once a zombie eats the flesh of a superpowered person, they can gain that person's powers. Players realized they'd die if they didn't form alliances, so they started teaming up on their own, building bases to fend off zombie sieges. But the bases don't just have to fight zombies. They also have to fight each other, to steal supplies and kill each other. Faced with the zombie virus, I had to set up steel nets in the ocean to keep virus-carrying fish from swimming to Future Island. I also put up power grids in the sky to stop birds from landing. The sunlight looked a little dim. I hide in the underground bunker on rainy days. I only come out after the machine tests and confirms the rain is non-toxic. That's the biggest impact the zombie virus has had on me. The internet on land was destroyed a long time ago. NPCs can only communicate via radio. I don't need this old-fashioned stuff, though. The thousands of satellites in the sky let me monitor the entire planet in real time. Just like I predicted, birds do carry the virus. When the virus reached those vulnerable island nations, the whole island turned into hell on Earth instantly. The number of players kept dropping one by one. This time it dropped down to only 30 people. But right at this moment, a mutated bird zombie had just flown over the waters of Future Island. When it crashed into the power grid, it was instantly burned to coke by the high voltage. But one feather slipped through the cracks, floating down through a gap in the power grid. Before it could hit the ground, the robot dog shot a stream of fire at it and burned it to ashes. This bird must have flown here from other Pacific Island nations. Starting that day, huge flocks of birds would fly over Future Island every day. The power grid was covered with dead birds. The robots were swamped with work, patrolling all over the island, burning the bird corpses with intense fire, and cleaning the power grid. Even Future Island is this much of a mess. You can imagine how bad the situation is everywhere else. I stopped going for daily walks on the beach and moved straight into the underground bunker. Today is New Year's Day. No one else in the world is in the mood to celebrate except me. I ate my New Year's Eve dinner. While playing the last Spring Festival gala before the apocalypse started, I thought of my old family, but now I'm all alone. I can't help but feel sad about it. I have to go back. I have to be the only winner. I took a photo of me eating New Year's Eve dinner and sent it to Wang Teng. The next minute, Wang Teng posted my photo on the global public channel. You can imagine how furious the players were. Tons of angry comments came flooding in. Number 9 is living the high life, huh? Damn it, we can't even get a hot meal, and he's got a whole table of food. You better not get too cocky. I'll fucking kill you once I find you. I didn't care at all. All right, I'll be waiting for you guys. That is, if you can find me. I exited the interface and turned on my computer to check the collected info on the 30 players. They would never guess that long before the apocalypse hit, the whole world was already full of my informants. My mercenaries have accurately located all the players scattered around the world and have been observing them for a long time. I know every player's powers and weaknesses like the back of my hand. After the apocalypse hit, the mercenaries survived on the supplies I stockpiled ahead of time. They keep working for me, and I can unlock new supplies for them. Money makes the world go round. Out here in the apocalypse, supplies are the best currency you can get. Right now, there are 3 major factions in the world. The first faction is the military. They have a massive arsenal. Their base is totally impenetrable. Wang Teng used his psychic mind control to take full command of the military. The second faction is the zombies. They already have a zombie king leading them. He gains powers by biting powered zombies and killing players. Liu Ruyan is also by the zombie king side. She's become his favorite partner. The third faction is the gangs. Even before the apocalypse broke out, Player 128 went to the world's most dangerous and chaotic country and took over the gangs with his powers. Under Player 128's leadership, the gangs grew slowly by robbing civilians. The remaining 26 players have all pledged allegiance to these 3 factions. Player 128 can manipulate gravity. That's a super powerful ability. In a one-on-one fight, No player can beat him, but the gang's overall power is actually the weakest of the three. I tapped player 128's profile pic with my pen. Let's take you down first. Just then, the system alert sounded again. There are currently 30 players alive. Game difficulty will now increase. Entering level 3, Frozen Continent. Some people panicked right away. The apocalypse has been going on for 1 year and 5 months. No one has any extra supplies left. If extreme cold hits now, everyone on this planet will die. Liu Ruyan sent me a private message quietly. Mark. Sent a message. Mark. When this is over, only zombies will survive on this planet. And I'll survive too. You'll regret rejecting me for the rest of your life. She sent a photo of her and the Zombie King along with the message. Seeing this, I let out a cold laugh. Fine then. I'll send you 2 lovebirds straight to hell. Extreme cold swept across the entire planet. Even my tropical island wasn't spared. A massive blizzard hit Future Island. The first thing to get damaged was the overhead power grid. Wind and tidal power plants were also badly hit. Luckily, the underground bunker's back up. Nuclear power plant is still running. The gangs were the first to crack. They'd already robbed almost all resources from civilians. Internal conflicts got worse. Fights broke out non-stop. Powered players kept dying off one after another. I DM'd player 128 through the world chat window. Want to team up? I've hidden a ton of supplies in your territory. Once you get them, you guys will be able to survive. Pretty soon, player 128 replied to me, What do you want? Why should I trust you? I want you to take out the Zombie King. My team of scientists developed a zombie cure. Just spray it on a zombie, and they'll disappear for good. But you already know, I have 0 combat power. I've thought it over a lot. You're the strongest out of the 30 powered players. Only you can pull this off. We humans can't stand the extreme cold. Zombies don't care about it at all. The longer we wait, the more of an upper hand the zombies have. No matter how many supplies I have, they'll run out eventually. Player 101 by the Zombie King's side will be the final winner. The Zombie King is way too strong. Without the zombie cure, no powered player can kill him. I have the cure. You have the powers. We team up, we take out the zombies. To gain player 128's trust, I sent my mercenaries with a vial of zombie cure and a batch of supplies. The gangs used the cure on a zombie. The zombie screamed and melted into a pool of blood. The virus in its body was also destroyed at the same time. Player 128 was tempted. If only he and I are left in the world. Killing me would be a piece of cake for him. As far as he's concerned, I'm the weakest player out there. Allying with me is obviously the best choice. One snowy night, hundreds of drones carrying the cure flew toward the zombie horde. The Zombie King was sleeping with Liu Ruyan in his arms. He had super sharp hearing, so he noticed something off right away. So he got out of bed immediately and made sure to tuck Liu Ruyan in first. Massive amounts of the cure. Tons of antidotes poured down from the sky mixed with snowflakes. The zombies that touched the antidote screamed in agony and melted into bloody water one after another. The Zombie King flew into a rage and jumped down right away. Several beams of light shot out from his palm and smashed the drone. Player 128 rushed over with other players. He activated his gravity superpower and pinned the Zombie King firmly to the ground. The powerful Zombie King couldn't even lift his wrist at all. A few players charged towards him. The Zombie King let out a howl from his throat. The zombies hiding in the dark were like monkeys pouncing on the players. Player 128 used his superpower again. The tall building was pulled by gravity and torn apart, then collapsed. Huge boulders smashed towards those zombies. Even the Zombie King was buried together under them. Player 128 wore a victorious smile. These boulders were more than enough to crush the Zombie King into pulp. Liu Ruyan was standing on the balcony. She covered her face and let out a scream. Player 128 twitched his finger. The terrace under Liu Ruyan's feet collapsed. She fell from a high place. A fall from that height would definitely kill anyone. At the very last second, the Zombie King jumped out of the ruins and caught Liu Ruyan. At the same time, one of his hands spurted out countless thin threads and tied up Player 128. Player 128 was terrified out of his wits. He had no idea the Zombie King had this trick up his sleeve. The Zombie King gave a light pull, and Player 128's body shattered instantly. But the Zombie King didn't expect that. Player 128's body was full of hidden antidotes. The medicine powder spread out and surrounded him. Liu Ruyan screamed at the top of her lungs. She watched the Zombie King melt into clumps of bloody water. She was scared out of her mind. This place was literally hell. She ran as far away as she could as fast as possible, but soon she fell into an ice hole. No one would come to save her this time. A superpower that relies on someone else's love is way too weak after all. On the global public screen, another 12 players' avatars turned gray. In my notebook, I crossed out their numbers one by one. When I got to player 128, his weakness was written right behind his number. Gravity can't control super light objects, like the Zombie King's spider threads. I like using information gaps to win foolproof battles. At this point, I only had one last opponent left. Wang Tung, who controlled the military. He couldn't wait to end this game. He sent a message to me on the global public screen. This game has always been for smart people. Mark, you've done pretty well to get this far. But there's always a loser in every game. If you kill yourself right now, I won't torture you. I've always known you have mercenaries, but they're no match for the military at all. You just have a bit of stinking money. But I have missiles, aircraft carriers, and military aircraft. Even if you hide at the ends of the earth, I'll still find you. And I sent a middle finger emoji on the public screen. Although Wang Tung's mind control is super strong, it has a fatal flaw. He has to use his superpower face to face. As long as I hide in the underground bunker, he can't use his superpower on me. But I didn't expect that. He fired missiles directly at Future Island. Several missiles bombed Future Island heavily. After a long time, I still wasn't offline. Wang Tung thought it was unbelievable. Mark, your bunker's pretty well built, huh? Then I'll come over and drag you out myself. He sailed the aircraft carrier over. For an aircraft carrier, those reefs I set up are nothing to fear. When he landed on Future Island, the whole island was full of smoke. The mountains were blown flat. Deep craters were blown out in the ground. All the defense works were completely destroyed. He looked at the exposed gate of the underground bunker and wore a confident, winning smile. He sent men to bomb the gate with heavy guns and ammo. After several rounds of heavy bombing, the gate was blown away. Revealing the passage inside, I immediately sent him a video call request. He answered the video call smugly. He looked at the dark passage and said, Mark, it's too late to beg for mercy now. He nodded with his chin to tell his men to enter the passage, planning to drag me out from inside. In the video, I calmly pointed at the vast universe behind me. Who told you I was on Future Island? Open your damn eyes and see where I am. As soon as I finished speaking, a nuclear bomb exploded on Future Island. Player 100's name finally turned gray. The system played a harsh notification music. Congratulations to Player 99 for being the only winner. Successfully cleared the level. One of Wang Tung's guys is a player with superpowers. He can find the exact latitude and longitude a photo was taken at just by looking at it. This superpower is totally useless, basically. But Wang Tung was sharp enough to notice. This trick could come in handy for him. He sent me video call requests so many times before, hoping to take screenshots to locate where I was. But I never accepted any of those calls. Then I sent him a photo on Chinese New Year's Eve. He secretly called me an idiot in his head and happily pinpointed my location. He waited for the gang and the Zombie King to be taken out, so he could take all the rewards without lifting a finger. He decided to blow me up. But come on, there's no way I don't know. Every single player that works for him, right? I leaked that photo to him on purpose, just to lure him to Future Island. Right after I sent that photo, I left Future Island. The reward the system gave me was a one-time chance to teleport anywhere I wanted. I brought all my supplies with me. And just like that, safe and sound, I was teleported to the space station. But the system didn't give me an option to go back to the ground. Until the very end, I couldn't use this reward.